Most people believe they cannot improve their English speaking because they do not live in an English-speaking country, they do not have an English-speaking friend, and they do not have anyone at home who can practice with them. But that is not the real problem. The real problem is that they have never learned how to practice speaking alone. You may spend hours watching English videos. You may memorize hundreds of words. You may complete grammar exercises. You may understand teachers when they speak slowly. But when someone asks you a simple question in English, your mind suddenly becomes empty. The words you already know disappear. Your mouth becomes tense. You begin translating. You become afraid of making a mistake. Then you answer with one short sentence, even though you know much more English than you were able to use. This does not mean your English is weak. It means your speaking system has not been trained. Knowing English and speaking English are not the same skill. You can know the rules of swimming without being able to swim. You can understand how a car works without being able to drive confidently through traffic. In the same way, you can understand English without being able to produce it quickly, naturally, and confidently. Speaking is a physical and mental performance skill. It requires repetition. It requires speed. It requires coordination between your thoughts, your memory, your mouth, and your voice. And, like every performance skill, it can be trained. The good news is that you do not need a partner to begin. Your home can become your speaking classroom. Your bedroom can become your practice studio. Your phone can become your recording coach. Your daily routine can become an endless source of speaking topics. The conversations you wish you could have with other people can first be practiced alone. That may sound strange. You may think, how can I have a conversation when nobody is listening? But speaking alone is not about pretending that another person is physically present. It is about preparing your brain and mouth for the moment when another person is present. It is about building automatic responses before you need them. It is about turning passive English into active English. Professional athletes practice movements before the real match. Musicians repeat songs before the performance. Actors rehearse their lines before standing in front of an audience. Public speakers practice before stepping onto the stage. Yet many English learners expect themselves to speak perfectly in real conversations without rehearsing anything. That expectation is unrealistic. You do not become confident and then start practicing. You practice until confidence becomes the natural result. In this lesson, you will learn how to create a complete English-speaking practice system at home. You will learn how to speak even when nobody is available. You will learn how to train your mouth, organize your thoughts, stop translating every sentence, respond more quickly, correct your own mistakes, and build a daily routine that you can actually continue. Do not listen to this as entertainment. Use it as training. When you hear a question, answer it aloud. When you hear a sentence, repeat it. When you are asked to describe something, do not only think about the answer. Speak. Your voice may feel uncomfortable at first. That discomfort is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are finally using the skill you have been avoiding. You do not need perfect grammar today. You need movement. You need to make your English active. You need to teach your brain that English is not only a language you receive, it is a language you produce. This is your speaking reset. Chapter 1. Understand why your English disappears when you speak. Before you improve your speaking, you need to understand why speaking feels so difficult, even when you already know many English words. Imagine that someone asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" This is not a difficult question. You know the words yesterday, work, home, food, friend, watch, go, and sleep. You probably understand the question immediately. But when you try to answer, several things happen inside your mind at the same time. First, you think about yesterday. Second, you try to choose which information to share. Third, you translate that information from your first language into English. Fourth, you search for vocabulary. Fifth, you try to remember grammar rules. Sixth, you worry about pronunciation. Seventh, You imagine the listener judging your mistakes. This is too much work for one simple answer. Your brain becomes overloaded, not because you know nothing, but because too many processes are competing for your attention. Fluent speakers do not consciously build every sentence from the beginning. They use language patterns that have already become automatic. They do not stop to calculate every verb tense. They have heard and used common structures so many times that the words come together naturally. For example, a fluent speaker answering the question about yesterday may begin automatically with, "Yesterday was quite busy. I went to work in the morning, and after that, I met a friend for dinner." The speaker does not separately search for every word. Large pieces of the sentence are already available as complete patterns. Yesterday was quite busy. I went to work in the morning. After that, I met a friend for. These are reusable language blocks. Many learners study individual words, but do not build enough complete speaking patterns. They know the word busy, the word morning, and the word friend, but they have not practiced combining them quickly during speech. This is why memorizing more vocabulary does not automatically solve speaking problems. You may know 10,000 words and still hesitate if those words remain disconnected in your memory. Your goal is not only to increase the number of words you recognize, your goal is to increase the number of sentences and patterns you can produce without struggle. Consider the sentence, "I have been trying to improve my English for the past 2 years." A learner may study present perfect continuous grammar for several weeks. They may understand the formula. They may correctly answer questions in a grammar book. But during conversation, they may never use the sentence because constructing it feels too slow. The solution is not to read the formula again. The solution is to say the pattern repeatedly with different information. I have been trying to improve my English for the past 2 years. I have been working from home for the past 6 months. I have been watching English videos for a few weeks. I have been waking up early since Monday. I have been practicing pronunciation every evening. Now the pattern begins to become available for real speech. This is what speaking practice must do. It must reduce the amount of thinking required to produce useful language. You are not trying to become careless. You are training your brain to handle common language automatically so that your attention can focus on meaning. Think about learning to drive. In the beginning, you consciously think about the steering wheel, mirrors, brakes, speed, traffic, and distance. Every action feels separate. With practice, many actions become automatic. You are still paying attention, but you are no longer mentally explaining every movement to yourself. Speaking develops in the same way. At first, you may need to think carefully before saying, "Could you explain that again?" After enough repetition, the sentence comes out immediately when you need it. This automatic ability is fluency. Fluency does not mean speaking without any mistakes. Fluency means expressing your ideas with reasonable speed, continuity, and clarity. You can make grammatical mistakes and still communicate fluently. You can also speak with perfect grammar, but sound extremely hesitant because every sentence takes too long to build. Your first target is not perfection. Your first target is continuous speech. When you practice at home, give yourself permission to finish your thought before correcting every mistake. Suppose you are describing your morning and you say, "I wake up at 7 yesterday." You may immediately notice the mistake. Instead of stopping for 30 seconds and becoming frustrated, finish the idea. "I woke up at 7 yesterday. I was tired because I slept late. Then I made breakfast and checked my messages." You corrected the verb, but you continued speaking. Do not allow one mistake to destroy the entire conversation. Real communication does not pause every time a small error appears. Your listener usually cares more about understanding your message than hearing perfect grammar. Another reason your English disappears is that you only practice in your head. Thinking in English is useful, but silent thinking is not speaking practice. Your mouth must learn the movements. Your breathing must learn the rhythm. Your voice must become comfortable producing English sounds. You may be able to imagine yourself saying a sentence beautifully, but when you say it aloud, the pronunciation may feel difficult. Your tongue may move slowly. Certain words may become unclear. You may lose your breath in long sentences. This is normal. The physical system needs practice. Every day, choose one simple question and answer it aloud for at least 2 minutes. What did you do today? What are you planning to do tomorrow? What is something you want to improve? What do you enjoy doing at home? What is a problem you recently solved? At first, your answer may last only 20 seconds. Do not stop. Expand it. If the question is, what do you enjoy doing at home? You might say, I enjoy watching movies. That is only the beginning. Continue. I enjoy watching movies, especially on weekends. I usually watch movies in the evening because that is when I have free time. I like comedy and action films, but I do not enjoy horror movies very much. Sometimes I watch English movies with subtitles. I try to notice useful expressions, although I often forget them later. Watching movies helps me relax after a busy day. Notice that the topic is simple. You do not need advanced knowledge to continue. You only need to add details. Use this expansion method whenever you become stuck. Give a reason. Give an example. Describe a past experience. Explain a future plan. Compare two things. Share your opinion. Describe a problem. Explain a solution. Suppose you say, I want to improve my English. Add a reason. I want to improve my English because it will help me in my career. Add an example. For example, many jobs in my field require employees to communicate with international clients. Describe a difficulty. My biggest difficulty is speaking quickly because I translate too much. Explain your plan. I am going to practice for 30 minutes every day by recording myself and repeating useful sentences. Now, one basic sentence has become a complete answer. This is one of the most important speaking habits you can build. Do not end your answer too early. Many learners believe they cannot speak fluently because they do not know advanced vocabulary. In reality, they often stop because they have not trained themselves to develop an idea. Fluency is not only language knowledge, it is also idea development. You need to practice giving your thoughts a beginning, middle, and end. At home, no one is rushing you. No one is interrupting you. No one is judging you. This is the perfect environment to train longer answers. Use the privacy of your home to make mistakes loudly. Speak badly before you expect yourself to speak well. A child does not wait until every sentence is perfect before using language. A child uses what is available, receives feedback, adjusts, and continues. Adults often make learning harder because they want to protect their image. They would rather remain silent than sound imperfect. But silence protects your ego, not your progress. You must choose. Do you want to sound perfect in your imagination, or do you want to become better in reality? Starting today, stop measuring your speaking ability by how many grammar rules you know. Measure it by how long you can express a clear idea aloud. Can you speak for 30 seconds about your morning? Can you speak for 1 minute about your work? Can you speak for 2 minutes about a goal? Can you explain a problem and a solution? Can you tell a short story from beginning to end? These are real speaking abilities. Every time you practice, your English becomes easier to access. Your brain begins to recognize that certain words belong together. Your mouth becomes familiar with common sound patterns. Your fear decreases because speaking is no longer a rare event. The English is not disappearing. It is waiting for repeated use. Your task is to bring it forward every day until speaking becomes normal. Chapter 2. Turn your home into an English-speaking environment. You do not need to move to another country to surround yourself with English. You need to change the way you use the environment you already have. Many learners live in an English-speaking country for years without becoming fluent. They work with people who speak their first language, watch entertainment in their first language, speak their first language at home, and avoid difficult conversations. Simply being physically present in another country does not guarantee improvement. At the same time, many learners become strong English speakers without leaving their home country because they intentionally create daily contact with English. Your environment influences your habits. If English only appears during one lesson each week, your brain treats it like a school subject. If English becomes part of your morning, your work, your phone, your entertainment, and your daily self-talk, your brain begins to treat it like a living language. You are not trying to replace your first language. You are creating regular spaces where English becomes the default. Begin by choosing one English zone in your home. It can be your desk, your bedroom, a chair near a window, or any place where you can sit comfortably and speak without interruption. When you enter this space during practice time, use English only. Do not translate your instructions into your first language. Do not check social media. Do not silently read for the entire session. This is a speaking zone. The place itself becomes a signal. When you sit there, your brain knows that it is time to produce English. Keep the system simple. You do not need expensive equipment. You need a phone, a timer, a notebook, and your voice. Use your phone to record yourself. Use the timer to create short speaking challenges. Use the notebook to collect useful phrases, not endless vocabulary lists. Use your voice to turn those phrases into active language. Next, label the actions of your daily life in English. Do not cover your entire house with paper labels. Knowing that a table is called a table will not make you fluent. Instead, speak complete sentences about what you are doing. When you wake up, say, "I need to get out of bed, but I still feel tired." When you open the curtains, say, "It looks brighter than I expected this morning." When you prepare breakfast, say, "I am making something quick because I do not have much time." When you search for your keys, say, "I thought I left them on the table, but they are not there." When you clean your room, say, "I have been avoiding this for several days, so I need to finish it today." These sentences connect English to real actions and real meaning. That connection makes language easier to remember. Do not worry if someone in your family thinks you are strange. Quiet practice produces quiet results. Speaking practice produces speaking results. You can speak softly if necessary, but you must move your mouth and use your voice. Narrating your day is one of the easiest ways to practice alone because you never run out of topics. Your life is always happening. You can describe what you are doing. You can explain why you are doing it. You can predict what will happen next. You can describe how you feel. You can compare today with yesterday. You can explain what you would prefer to do differently. For example, while making tea, you could say, "I usually drink tea in the morning, but today I am having it later than usual. I was busy earlier, so I did not have time. I prefer strong tea with a little milk. I used to add more sugar, but I am trying to reduce it. After I finish this, I need to answer a few messages." This is natural language practice. You are using present simple, present continuous, past simple, used to, preferences, and future plans without opening a grammar book. You are not studying grammar separately. You are using grammar to express your life. Create small English triggers around your home. When you look in a mirror, speak for 1 minute. When you sit at your desk, describe your main task. When you open the refrigerator, name what you need and explain what you might prepare. When you turn off the lights at night, summarize your day. These triggers make practice easier because you do not need to decide when to begin. The action reminds you. You can also change the language settings on your phone, computer, and frequently used applications. This will not directly make you fluent, but it increases daily exposure to functional English. You begin seeing words such as settings, privacy, storage, notifications, update, delete, share, save, manage, connect, and continue in real situations. These words become familiar because you use them, not because you memorize definitions. Be careful, however. Passive exposure is not enough. When you see a useful word or phrase, turn it into speech. If you see storage almost full, say, "My phone storage is almost full, so I need to delete some old files." If you see connection failed, say, "The connection failed again. I might need to restart the router." If you see update available, say, "There is an update available, but I will install it later." This is how you turn your environment into a speaking teacher. Another powerful method is to create an English audio environment. Choose podcasts, interviews, lessons, and videos that match your current level. Do not choose material that is so difficult that you understand almost nothing. You need content that challenges you but still allows you to follow the main message. Listen during simple activities such as walking, cleaning, cooking, or organizing your room. However, do not count all listening time as speaking practice. Listening gives you input. Speaking requires output. After listening to a short section, pause and explain what you heard. You do not need to repeat every detail. Say, the speaker was explaining why morning routines are important. He said that people make better decisions when they plan the day before checking their phones. I agree with part of the idea, but I think the routine needs to be realistic. This forces you to process and reproduce the content. You can also react aloud while listening. I have never thought about it that way. That example makes sense. I am not sure I agree with that. This reminds me of something that happened to me. I would probably handle the situation differently. These reactions are useful conversational expressions. In real discussions, you often need to respond, agree, disagree, question, and connect ideas to personal experience. Your home practice should include these functions. Do not only practice giving formal speeches. Real conversation is interactive. Even when you are alone, you can train the language of interaction. Create imaginary situations based on your real life. Imagine you are calling a company to ask about a service. Hello, I am calling because I would like some information about your internet packages. Could you tell me what options are currently available? Imagine you are explaining a problem to a coworker. I finished most of the task, but I could not complete the final section because I am still waiting for the updated information. Imagine you are meeting someone for the first time. Nice to meet you. I work in digital content, and I mainly focus on video production. What kind of work do you do? Imagine you are returning a product. I bought this 2 days ago, but unfortunately, it is not working properly. I would like to exchange it if possible. You may think imaginary practice feels artificial. Of course it is artificial. All rehearsal is artificial. The purpose is to prepare for reality. A pilot uses a simulator before handling a real emergency. A speaker rehearses before a presentation. You are rehearsing communication. The more situations you practice, the less unfamiliar real conversations will feel. Create 3 categories of home practice situations. The first category is daily life. Ordering food, asking for directions, making an appointment, introducing yourself, explaining your routine, talking about your family, discussing hobbies, describing your city, and making plans. The second category is work or study. Giving an update, asking for clarification, disagreeing politely, presenting an idea, answering interview questions, explaining a delay, requesting help, and participating in a meeting. The third category is unexpected situations. Missing a flight, losing a phone, receiving the wrong order, explaining a medical concern, reporting a technical problem, apologizing for a misunderstanding, or helping a visitor. Practice one situation each day. Do not attempt to memorize a perfect script. Memorize useful structures and adapt them. For example, when asking for information, practice. I would like to know more about. Could you tell me whether? I was wondering if. Do you happen to know? Could you explain how? Use these structures in different situations. I would like to know more about the course. I would like to know more about the payment options. I would like to know more about the delivery process. Could you tell me whether breakfast is included? Could you tell me whether the office is open tomorrow? Could you tell me whether I need to bring any documents? Now you have a flexible speaking tool. Your environment must also protect your attention. If you sit down to practice, but spend 20 minutes searching for the perfect video, the perfect topic, or the perfect method, you are avoiding the uncomfortable part. Speaking. Prepare your practice material before the session. Keep a list of 30 questions in your notebook. Keep a list of 10 common situations. Keep 3 short audio clips ready for shadowing. Keep a list of phrases you want to activate. Then, when practice begins, begin immediately. Do not turn preparation into procrastination. You do not need a beautiful notebook. You do not need a complicated application. You do not need 50 resources. Too many resources often create the illusion of progress while preventing consistency. Choose a small system and repeat it. Your home environment should make English easy to start. Leave your notebook open on your desk. Create a phone reminder that says, "Speak for 5 minutes." Keep your practice audio in one folder. Place your headphones near your speaking area. Reduce the number of decisions you need to make. A habit becomes stronger when starting requires less effort. You should also decide which time of day gives you the most privacy and energy. Some learners prefer early morning because the house is quiet. Others practice during a lunch break or before bed. The perfect time is not the time recommended by a productivity expert. It is the time you can repeat consistently. 10 focused minutes every day is more valuable than 2 hours once every 3 weeks. Your environment will not change your speaking by itself, but it can make speaking practice unavoidable. Every room contains topics. Every object can begin a description. Every problem can become an explanation. Every plan can become a future tense exercise. Every memory can become a story. Every opinion can become a 2-minute speech. You are not waiting for English to enter your life. You are choosing to use English inside the life you already have. Chapter 3. Train your mouth, voice, and pronunciation every day. Many learners think pronunciation is only about producing individual sounds correctly. Sounds are important, but understandable speaking also depends on stress, rhythm, linking, pauses, breathing, and confidence. You may pronounce every word correctly in isolation and still sound difficult to understand if you stress the wrong words, pause in unnatural places, or speak with no rhythm. English is not produced one word at a time like separate blocks. Words connect. Some words become stronger, other words become weaker. Sounds change when words meet. Sentences rise and fall. Your mouth needs to practice these movements. Begin with a simple truth. Your first language has trained your mouth for many years. Certain sound combinations feel easy because you have repeated them thousands of times. English uses different combinations, so your mouth may resist them. This resistance does not mean you are incapable. It means the movement is unfamiliar. When you begin physical exercise, your muscles may feel stiff. Repetition creates control. Pronunciation works similarly. Start every speaking session with a 2-minute mouth warm-up. Open your mouth more than usual and clearly pronounce vowel sounds. Say a, o. Move slowly at first. Then practice common consonant combinations. Think, thought through 3. Work, world, word, worse. Street, strong, strange. Structure. Asked, worked, helped, stopped. Do not rush difficult sounds. Accuracy first, then speed. If a word is hard, break it into parts. For example, comfortable is often difficult because learners try to pronounce every written letter separately. Listen to how fluent speakers actually say it, then copy the natural rhythm. Do the same with words such as particularly, responsibility, development, environment, probably, and opportunity. But do not spend your entire practice session fighting one word. Pronunciation improves through regular exposure, not obsessive perfection. Your main goal is clarity. You do not need to remove your accent. An accent is a natural result of your language background. There are many English accents around the world. The target is not to sound exactly like one particular speaker. The target is to be understood without forcing the listener to work too hard. Focus on the pronunciation problems that most affect understanding. One major problem is word stress. In English, one syllable is usually stronger than the others. We say table, not table. We say important, not important. We say opportunity, with stress near the end. Incorrect stress can make a familiar word sound unfamiliar. When learning a new word, do not only learn the spelling and meaning, learn the stress syllable. Say the word with exaggerated stress. Record, the noun. Record, the verb. Present, the noun or adjective. Present, the verb. Record yourself and compare your stress with a reliable pronunciation source. Sentence stress is equally important. In a sentence, content words usually receive more emphasis. These often include important nouns, main verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Grammar words are often weaker. Take the sentence, I need to finish the report by Friday. The important words are need, finish, report, and Friday. Say it naturally. I need to finish the report by Friday. Do not give every word equal force. Now, change the meaning by changing the stress. I need to finish the report by Friday. This emphasizes the deadline. I need to finish the report by Friday. This may contrast the report with another task. I need to finish the report by Friday. This emphasizes necessity. Stress carries meaning. It helps the listener understand what matters. Another important feature is thought groups. Do not speak long sentences without pauses. Do not pause after every word. Pause between meaningful groups of words. Consider this sentence. When I started learning English, I understood basic grammar, but I could not speak confidently because I was always afraid of making mistakes. Break it into thought groups. When I started learning English, I understood basic grammar, but I could not speak confidently because I was always afraid of making mistakes. These pauses allow you to breathe, organize your message, and sound more natural. Practice marking pauses in a short paragraph. Read it aloud slowly, then repeat it with a little more speed while keeping the thought groups clear. Your breathing matters more than you may realize. Some learners speak too quietly or run out of breath because they are nervous. They tighten their throat and try to push the whole sentence out quickly. Before speaking, breathe in calmly. Begin the sentence with enough air. Do not force your voice. Allow the sound to move forward. Practice speaking slightly louder than feels normal when you are alone. This builds vocal confidence. You do not need to shout. You need to stop hiding your voice. Say, I am learning to speak clearly. Now say it again with stronger intention. I am learning to speak clearly. The words are the same, but the second version probably sounds more believable because your voice has energy. Confidence is not only inside your mind, it appears in volume, pace, posture, and tone. Sit or stand upright during practice. Look forward instead of down. Open your mouth. Finish the ends of words. Do not let your voice disappear at the end of sentences. Many learners begin strongly and then become quieter because they are unsure of the final words. Practice completing sentences with the same energy you used at the beginning. I started practicing English because I wanted to communicate more confidently at work. Do not lose the final phrase. Record 1 minute of your speaking. Listen specifically to the ends of your sentences. Are they clear? Are you swallowing words? Are you speaking too quickly because you want the sentence to end? Slow down slightly. Speaking fast is not the same as speaking fluently. Fluent speakers change speed. They slow down for important information. They pause before a new idea. They move quickly through familiar phrases. Their speech has variation. A learner who rushes may sound less fluent because words become unclear and mistakes increase. Your goal is controlled speed. Use a technique called backward building for difficult sentences. Take this sentence. I would have handled the situation differently if I had known what was happening. Begin with the end. What was happening? Known what was happening. If I had known what was happening. Differently if I had known what was happening. The situation differently if I had known what was happening. Handled the situation differently if I had known what was happening. I would have handled the situation differently if I had known what was happening. Backward building helps your mouth master the final part before carrying the entire sentence. Another technique is slow, normal, fast, normal. Choose one useful sentence. I am trying to become more comfortable speaking English in everyday situations. Say it very slowly and clearly. Then say it at a normal pace. Then say it faster while maintaining clarity. Finally, return to a natural pace. The final normal version often feels easier because your mouth has experienced both control and speed. Practice contractions as well. Natural conversation frequently uses forms such as I'm, your, we've, they'll, couldn't, wouldn't, and should've. If you always use the full form, your speech may sound too formal or slow. Practice pairs. I am going to call him. I'm going to call him. We have already finished. We've already finished. She will probably arrive soon. She'll probably arrive soon. I would not recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. Do not force contractions into every sentence. Learn to recognize and produce them comfortably. Linking is another major feature of spoken English. When one word ends with a consonant sound and the next begins with a vowel sound, the words often connect. Pick it up may sound like pick it up. Turn it off may sound like turn it off. I need an answer may connect smoothly. You do not need to study every technical rule. Listen, imitate, and notice how words flow together. This is why shadowing is so powerful, and you will learn more about it later. For now, choose one short sentence from a speaker you understand. Listen 3 times. Notice the stress, pauses, and connections. Then copy the whole sound, not only the words. Pretend you are copying music. Language has melody. If the speaker sounds surprised, copy the surprise. If the speaker sounds uncertain, copy the uncertainty. If the speaker emphasizes one word, emphasize the same word. This trains expression, not only pronunciation. Your practice should also include questions, because question intonation can be difficult. Say, "Are you ready?" Say, "What are you doing?" Say, "You finished already?" Notice that different questions may use different intonation patterns. Listen to natural examples and copy them. Practice emotional variety. Say the sentence, "I cannot believe you did that," with surprise. Now say it with anger. Now with amusement. Now with disappointment. The words remain the same, but the voice changes the meaning. English speaking confidence grows when your voice can carry emotion, not only information. Do not become obsessed with sounding native. That goal can make you ashamed of every difference in your speech. Aim to become clear, expressive, and comfortable. You may always have traces of your original accent. That is not failure. Failure is refusing to speak because your pronunciation is not perfect. Use a simple daily pronunciation routine. Spend 2 minutes warming up difficult sounds. Spend 3 minutes reading a short paragraph aloud. Spend 5 minutes copying a natural speaker. Spend 2 minutes recording a summary in your own words. This is 12 minutes. 12 focused minutes repeated daily can transform the physical quality of your speech. When you listen to your recording, do not judge your entire voice. Choose one area. Today, listen for word stress. Tomorrow, listen for sentence endings. The next day, listen for speed. Then listen for pauses. Improvement becomes easier when your attention has one target. Your voice may sound strange to you in recordings. Almost everyone dislikes their recorded voice at first because it sounds different from the voice they hear inside their own head. Do not use that discomfort as an excuse to avoid feedback. The recording is not insulting you. It is showing you what the listener hears. Use that information. You do not need to love every recording. You need to learn from it. Your mouth is trainable. Your rhythm is trainable. Your clarity is trainable. Your voice is trainable, but nothing changes while your English remains silent. Chapter 4. Stop translating and start building thoughts directly in English. Translation is not always bad. It can help beginners understand meaning. It can help advanced speakers compare precise ideas. Professional translators use it as a valuable skill. The problem begins when translation becomes the only road between your thoughts and your English. If every sentence must first be created in your first language, Converted into English, checked for grammar, and then spoken, conversation becomes slow and exhausting. You need to build a faster road. Thinking directly in English does not mean having complex philosophical thoughts in perfect English from the first day. It begins with small, familiar ideas. You do not need to translate "I am tired" if you have used the sentence hundreds of times. The meaning and the English words become directly connected. This direct connection is what you need to build across more areas of your life. Start with the language of immediate experience. Look around your room and name what you notice in complete sentences. The window is open. My phone is charging. There are several papers on the desk. The room feels warmer than usual. I need to organize these books. Do not first create these sentences in your first language. Connect the English directly to what you see. Then move to actions. I am looking for a document. I am waiting for a message. I am deciding what to eat. I am trying to remember where I put my keys. I need to leave in about 20 minutes. Next, move to feelings and reactions. I am slightly nervous about the meeting. I am relieved that the problem has been solved. I am disappointed with the result. I did not expect that to happen. I am not sure what I should do next. These are the building blocks of direct thinking. Many learners attempt to think in English by translating complicated thoughts. Then they become frustrated. Do not begin with difficult ideas. Begin with repeated life. Your brain learns direct English when the same situation and the same language meet again and again. Every morning, you can think or say, "I did not sleep very well. I feel more energetic today. I have a busy schedule. I need to complete 3 important tasks. I am going to start with the most difficult one. Every evening, today was more productive than yesterday. I did not finish everything I planned. The most difficult part of the day was, tomorrow I need to." These patterns become automatic because the context repeats. Another method is to use simple English definitions instead of translating unknown words. Suppose you forget the word kettle. Do not immediately search for the word in your first language. Describe it. It is the thing we use to boil water. If you forget receipt, say, "It is the paper that shows what you bought and how much you paid." If you forget appointment, say, "It is a planned meeting at a specific time." This skill is essential because you will sometimes forget words during real conversation. Fluent communication does not depend on remembering every perfect word. It depends on continuing when a word is missing. Practice explaining objects without naming them. Choose something in your room. It is a small electronic device. I use it to control the television from a distance. It has several buttons. The answer is a remote control. Choose another object. It is made of glass. I usually use it for drinking water. It is transparent and easy to break. The answer is a glass. This game trains your brain to stay inside English instead of escaping into translation. You should also build groups of language around common topics. Suppose one important topic is work. Do not only memorize isolated words such as deadline, meeting, manager, client, project, and schedule. Build complete thoughts. I am currently working on a new project. We have a deadline at the end of the week. I need to discuss the schedule with my manager. The client requested several changes. We may have to delay the final delivery. I am waiting for feedback before I continue. Now, when a work conversation begins, your brain has ready-made material. Do the same for health. I have not been sleeping well recently. I am trying to improve my diet. I need to become more physically active. I have been feeling tired in the afternoons. I should probably make an appointment. Do the same for travel. I am planning to visit. I have never been there before. I would prefer to travel by... I need to check the ticket prices. I am looking for a place that is clean and affordable. I am not sure how long the journey will take. Topic-based language reduces translation because the words and structures are connected to one area of meaning. Use a technique called one-topic thinking. Choose a familiar topic and spend 5 minutes thinking or speaking only in English about it. Suppose the topic is food. Begin simply. I am hungry. Then continue. I have not decided what to eat. I could make rice, but that might take too long. There is some leftover food in the refrigerator. I had the same thing yesterday, so I would prefer something different. I could order food, but I am trying to save money. I think I will make eggs because they are quick and easy. This is real thinking. You are considering options, giving reasons, comparing choices, and making a decision. The grammar is not extremely advanced, but the thinking process is complete. That is how direct English grows. Do not interrupt yourself every time you are uncertain. Use simpler language. Suppose you want to say, the government should implement stricter regulations to reduce environmental pollution, but you cannot remember implement, regulations, or environmental pollution. Say, the government should make stronger rules to reduce pollution. The simpler sentence communicates the idea. Many learners freeze because they are trying to translate a sophisticated sentence from their first language. They reject every simpler version. This is unnecessary. Strong speakers are flexible. They can express the same idea in several ways. Practice paraphrasing. Take the sentence, I was exhausted after work. Say it differently. I was extremely tired after work. Work left me with no energy. I felt completely worn out when I finished working. I was so tired that I did not want to do anything. Now your brain has multiple routes to the same meaning. If one route is blocked during conversation, another route remains available. Translation-dependent learners often believe there is only one correct sentence. There are usually many natural ways to express an idea. Suppose someone asks, why are you learning English? Possible answers include, I am learning English because I need it for work. English is important for my career. I want to communicate with international clients. I am hoping to find better job opportunities. I would like to feel more confident when I travel. I started learning because I wanted access to more information. There is no single perfect answer. Your goal is not to retrieve one memorized sentence. Your goal is to move freely within the idea. Another way to reduce translation is to connect new words to English examples. Suppose you learn the word hesitate. Do not only write a translation. Write, to pause because you feel uncertain. I hesitated before answering the question. Do not hesitate to contact me. She hesitated for a moment and then agreed. Now the word is connected to English meaning and usage. Learn phrases around the word. Hesitate to ask. Hesitate before speaking. Without hesitation, a moment of hesitation. Language is easier to retrieve when stored in relationships. Your internal voice also matters. Many learners criticize themselves in their first language while trying to speak English. This is wrong. I sound stupid. I cannot remember anything. Why am I so slow? These thoughts create more pressure. Replace them with short English instructions. Keep going. Say it more simply. Take your time. Try another sentence. Finish the idea. Correct it and continue. Now, even your recovery process happens in English. You are teaching yourself how to respond to difficulty without leaving the language. Use English for small decisions throughout the day. Should I answer this message now or later? I will do it now because I might forget. Which task should I start with? I should probably finish the urgent one first. Do I need to buy anything? Yes, I need milk, bread, and batteries. Decision-making creates direct thought because you are using English to guide action. You can also ask yourself questions. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What happened before this? What will happen next? How do I feel about it? What would I change? Questions pull language out of your mind. Suppose you are working on a difficult task. What am I doing? I am editing a document. Why is it difficult? The information is not organized, and several sections are missing. What will I do next? I will finish the clear sections first, and then ask for the missing details. This is structured English thinking. Do not expect translation to disappear completely. Even advanced bilingual speakers sometimes translate. The goal is not to ban translation. The goal is to make it unnecessary for common thoughts. Build direct English in layers. First, objects and actions. Then, routines and plans. Then, feelings and opinions. Then, explanations and stories. Then, abstract ideas. You cannot force the highest layer before building the lower ones. Be patient, but do not be passive. Every day, create 10 minutes when your internal language is English. During those 10 minutes, do not use a dictionary unless communication completely stops. Describe, simplify, and continue. At first, your thoughts may feel childish. That is not a problem. A simple thought expressed directly is more useful for fluency than a brilliant thought trapped behind translation. Your English thinking will become more complex as your active language grows. Do not wait until you can think perfectly. Think with what you have. Speak with what you have. Build from there. Chapter 5. Use shadowing to copy natural English rhythm and speed. Shadowing is one of the most effective speaking exercises you can do at home, but many learners use it incorrectly. Shadowing means listening to a speaker and repeating the speech with very little delay, almost like a shadow following a person. The purpose is not simply to memorize words. It is to train your listening, pronunciation, rhythm, speed, stress, and mouth movements at the same time. When you shadow natural English, you temporarily borrow the speaker's speaking system. You copy where the speaker pauses. You copy which words receive emphasis. You copy how sounds connect. You copy how the voice rises and falls. You copy the emotional energy. This gives your mouth an experience of natural speech that silent listening cannot provide. However, choosing the right material is essential. Do not begin with a fast movie scene full of slang, background music, and unclear pronunciation. You will spend the entire exercise chasing sounds you cannot identify. Choose a clear speaker, a short clip, and a topic you can mostly understand. The ideal clip for beginners may be 15 to 30 seconds long. Intermediate learners can use 30 to 60 seconds. Advanced learners can use longer clips, but short, repeated practice is still valuable. Your clip should contain useful everyday language, not rare vocabulary you will never use. A good clip might include sentences such as, "One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to change everything at once. A better approach is to choose one small habit and repeat it consistently." This language is clear, reusable, and meaningful. Begin by listening without repeating. Understand the main idea. Then listen again while reading the transcript if one is available. Identify unfamiliar words. Check their meaning and pronunciation. Do not begin shadowing a sentence you do not understand. Your brain should connect sound, meaning, and movement. Next, divide the clip into short sections. Listen to one sentence. Pause. Repeat it slowly. Listen again. Repeat it more accurately. Record yourself. Compare. For example, "One of the biggest mistakes people make." Repeat only that section. Then is trying to change everything at once. Repeat it. Then combine the full sentence. "One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to change everything at once." Only after you can repeat the sentence comfortably should you begin speaking with the audio. At first, allow a delay of 1 or 2 seconds. The speaker says, "One of the biggest mistakes people make?" You follow. As you improve, reduce the delay. Eventually, you may speak almost at the same time. Do not expect perfect synchronization immediately. Shadowing is difficult because your brain must listen and speak at once. That difficulty is part of the training. Use headphones if possible so you can hear the speaker clearly while still hearing your own voice. Keep the volume safe. You do not need loud audio. During shadowing, do not focus only on individual words. Listen for the shape of the sentence. Which word is strongest? Where does the speaker slow down? Does the speaker reduce any sounds? Where does the speaker breathe? What emotion is present? Copy these features. Suppose the sentence is, "I never expected the project to become this difficult." The speaker may emphasize never, expected, and this difficult. Do not say every word with equal stress. I never expected the project to become this difficult. Your version should carry the same message and attitude. One common mistake is whispering during shadowing. Whispering avoids full pronunciation and breath support. Use a normal speaking voice. Another mistake is choosing a new clip every day. Constantly changing material prevents deep improvement. Use the same clip for several days. On the first day, understand and repeat slowly. On the second day, improve pronunciation. On the third day, focus on rhythm and linking. On the fourth day, shadow without reading. On the fifth day, summarize the clip in your own words. This creates much more value than quickly copying 50 different clips. A short passage becomes a training laboratory. You notice more each time. You may first hear the words. Later, you notice the weak forms. Then you notice the pauses. Then the emotion. Repetition reveals details. After shadowing, personalize the language. Suppose the original sentence is, one of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to change everything at once. Create your own versions. One of the biggest mistakes English learners make is waiting until they feel confident. One of the biggest mistakes I make is trying to work without a clear plan. One of the biggest mistakes new employees make is being afraid to ask questions. Now the pattern becomes active. Shadowing without personalization may improve pronunciation but remain disconnected from your own speaking. Personalization turns copied language into usable language. Another useful shadowing method is emotional imitation. Choose a short scene or interview where the speaker expresses a clear emotion. Perhaps the speaker is excited, disappointed, uncertain, amused, or serious. Copy the emotional tone. This helps you avoid flat speech. Many learners focus so heavily on grammar that every sentence sounds emotionally identical. Real conversation depends on tone. Say, "That is really interesting," with genuine interest. Now say it as though you are pretending to be polite. Say, "I did not expect that," with surprise. Say it with disappointment. Say it with suspicion. Your voice should respond to meaning. Shadowing can teach this because you hear how native and fluent speakers use emotion. You do not need to copy one particular accent forever. Use different clear speakers over time. This exposes you to variation and helps you become a flexible listener. However, during one practice period, stay with one speaker so your mouth can copy a consistent model. You can use shadowing for professional communication as well. Choose clips from presentations, business interviews, customer service conversations, or educational talks. Practice phrases such as, "Let me clarify what I mean. There are two main reasons for this. From my perspective, the biggest challenge is, I completely understand your concern. What I would suggest is, the first thing we need to consider is, these expressions organize speech and make you sound more confident. Shadow complete thought patterns, not random sentences." Another method is silent shadowing before spoken shadowing. Listen and move your mouth without producing sound. This helps you observe the movements. Then whisper once. Then speak normally. Finally, record yourself without the original audio. This progression can help when the clip feels difficult. You can also slow the audio slightly, but do not keep it slow forever. The goal is to return to natural speed. If you use playback speed, begin at perhaps 80 or 90%, master the sentence, and then return to normal speed. Avoid extremely slow playback because it can distort natural rhythm. The final step is independent reproduction. After practicing the clip, close the transcript and explain the message in your own words. Suppose the clip says, "People often fail to build habits because they depend on motivation. Motivation changes from day to day. So a good system needs to work, even when motivation is low." Your summary might be, the speaker is saying that motivation is unreliable. People sometimes feel excited, but that feeling does not last. Therefore, we need routines that help us continue even on difficult days. You are now moving from imitation to communication. This is important. You do not want to become a machine that can repeat beautiful English but cannot create original sentences. Shadowing is a bridge. You copy first, then you adapt, then you speak independently. Use a 15-minute shadowing routine. Listen to the clip twice. Read and understand the transcript. Repeat each sentence slowly. Shadow with the audio 3 times. Record yourself once. Create 3 personalized sentences. Summarize the message for 1 minute. This single routine trains listening, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, memory, and spontaneous speaking. Do not judge success by whether you sound exactly like the original speaker. Judge whether your second attempt is clearer than your first. Can you maintain the rhythm? Can you pronounce the key words? Can you follow the speaker without stopping? Can you use the main pattern in your own sentence? These are useful measures. Shadowing may feel exhausting at first. That is because it forces your brain to process English quickly. 5 focused minutes may be enough for a beginner. Increase gradually. Quality is more important than duration. Do not mumble through 30 minutes and call it practice. Work carefully with a short section. The aim is not merely to keep up. The aim is to teach your speaking system how natural English feels. Every clip you master adds new rhythm to your voice. Every sentence you personalize adds new structure to your active language. Every recording teaches your ear to notice more. You are not passively admiring fluent speakers. You are studying their movements and training your own. Chapter 6. Have real conversations with yourself without sounding memorized. Speaking to yourself may feel embarrassing, but it is one of the most practical ways to build fluency at home. The problem is not speaking alone. The problem is practicing in a way that becomes mechanical. If you repeat the same introduction every day, you may become excellent at saying, "My name is," "I live in," "My hobbies are," but still struggle when the conversation changes. Self-conversation must include unpredictability, follow-up questions, disagreement, clarification, and changing directions. You need to create 2 sides of the conversation. Begin with a simple question. What do you usually do on weekends? Answer naturally. I usually spend part of the weekend resting because my weekdays are quite busy. Then ask a follow-up question. What do you mean by resting? Answer. I normally stay at home, watch something, and avoid making too many plans. Ask another question. Do you think that is the best use of your weekend? Now the conversation becomes more interesting. Not always. Sometimes I feel better after resting, but sometimes I waste too much time on my phone and regret it later. Challenge yourself. Then why do you continue doing it? Probably because it is the easiest option. When I am tired, I do not want to make difficult decisions. Suggest a solution. What could you do differently next weekend? I could plan one useful activity in advance, such as going for a walk, meeting a friend, or practicing English for an hour. This is a real conversation structure. One answer creates the next question. You are not reciting a speech. You are responding. Use question words to continue. Why? How? When? Where? Who? What happened next? How did you feel? What would you do differently? Can you give an example? Do you agree with that? What is the opposite argument? Each question forces your brain to explore the topic from another angle. Suppose the topic is working from home. Do you prefer working from home or working in an office? I prefer working from home because I save time. How much time do you save? I probably save about 2 hours because I do not need to travel. Are there any disadvantages? Yes. It can become lonely, and sometimes it is difficult to separate work from personal life. What do you do to solve that problem? I try to work in one specific place and stop at a fixed time, although I do not always follow that rule. Would you recommend remote work to everyone? No, because some people need more social interaction and structure. You are now practicing preferences, reasons, quantities, disadvantages, solutions, habits, exceptions, and recommendations. One topic can generate many language functions. Another method is role switching. Imagine you are both a customer and an employee. Customer. Excuse me, I ordered this product last week, but it has not arrived yet. Employee, I am sorry about the delay. Could you give me your order number? Customer, yes, it is 48329. Employee, thank you. Let me check the status for you. Customer, I would also like to know whether I can cancel the order. Employee, you can cancel it if it has not already been shipped. Then change the situation. The employee cannot find the order. The customer becomes frustrated. The address is incorrect. The product has already been delivered to the wrong location. Each complication forces you to adapt. Do not write the entire dialogue first. Give yourself only the situation and improvise. This builds spontaneous speaking. You can practice difficult conversations before they happen. Suppose you need to ask your manager for more time. Practice the conversation. I wanted to discuss the deadline for the report. I have completed the main analysis, but I am still waiting for data from another department. Would it be possible to submit the final version on Thursday instead of Tuesday? Imagine the manager refuses. I understand that Thursday is late. In that case, I can submit a partial version on Tuesday and send the completed report as soon as I receive the remaining data. Imagine the manager asks why you did not request the data earlier. I sent the request last week, but I should have followed up sooner. I will make sure that does not happen again. This rehearsal helps you organize both language and strategy. In real life, difficult conversations feel easier when you have already explored possible responses. You can also practice social conversations. Imagine meeting a new person. Hi, I do not think we have met before. I am... What brings you here? How do you know the host? What kind of work do you do? How did you get into that field? Do you enjoy it? What has been the most challenging part? Then practice sharing information about yourself instead of only asking questions. A conversation is not an interview. You need to respond and contribute. If the imaginary person says, I work in software, you might say, that sounds interesting. I have always been curious about software development. Although I do not have a technical background, what kind of projects do you work on? Now you connect their answer to your experience and ask a relevant question. Practice disagreement. Many learners can express agreement but become silent when they disagree because they do not want to sound rude. Use polite patterns. I understand your point, but I see it differently. That may be true in some cases, although I do not think it applies to everyone. I agree with the general idea, but I am not convinced about. I can see why people believe that. However, from my experience, the situation is slightly different. Choose a topic. Working from home is always better than working in an office. Respond. I understand why some people prefer working from home, but I would not say it is always better. It depends on the person and the type of work. Some people are more productive at home, while others need the structure and social contact of an office. Now argue the opposite side. However, commuting wastes time, and offices can be distracting. Respond again. That is true, but home environments can also be distracting, especially for people who live with family members or do not have a separate workspace. This debate method develops flexibility. Do not only practice opinions you already believe. Defend the opposite position for 2 minutes. This forces you to search for new language and consider different arguments. Another effective exercise is the interruption drill. Begin speaking about a topic. After 30 seconds, interrupt yourself with a new question. You might be describing your ideal holiday. Then ask, what would you do if your flight were canceled? Respond. After another 30 seconds, ask, would you still enjoy the trip if you had to travel alone? Respond. Then ask, what is one place you would never visit and why? The changing questions prevent memorized speech. Use a random question generator or write questions on small pieces of paper. Pick one without looking and answer immediately. Give yourself 5 seconds to begin. You do not need to produce a brilliant answer. You need to start. Use opening phrases to gain thinking time. That is an interesting question. I have never really thought about that before. My first reaction would be, it depends on the situation. There are a few ways to look at it. Let me think about the best example. These phrases are not useless filler when used naturally. They allow you to organize your thoughts while keeping the conversation alive. Practice asking for clarification. In real conversations, you will not always understand. Could you say that again? Could you speak a little more slowly? What do you mean by, are you saying that? Could you give me an example? I understood the first part, but I missed what you said after that. Learners sometimes pretend to understand because they feel embarrassed. This creates more confusion. Strong communication includes the ability to repair misunderstanding. During self-conversation, intentionally create unclear statements and clarify them. I need to finish it soon. What exactly do you mean by soon? I mean before the end of the day. She did not respond well. Do you mean she became angry? Not exactly. She did not become angry, but she seemed disappointed. This trains precision. You can use photographs for conversation practice. Choose any image from your phone. First, describe what you see. Then, imagine what happened before the picture. Then predict what happened afterward. Then create a conversation between the people in the image. Then explain how the picture makes you feel. One image can produce 5 different speaking tasks. You can use objects in the same way. Pick up an object and speak about its history. Where did you get it? How often do you use it? Why is it useful? What would you do if it broke? How has a newer version improved? Would you recommend it? You never need to say, I have nothing to talk about. Your environment contains endless prompts. The most important rule of self-conversation is to stay honest. Do not produce answers that sound like textbook essays if you would never speak that way in real life. Use language that matches your personality. If you do not enjoy reading, do not repeatedly say, reading is my favorite hobby, because the sentence appears in beginner lessons. Talk about your actual life. Real thoughts are easier to remember and express. When you care about the message, the language has a purpose. Record some of these conversations, but not all of them. Recording every minute can make you too self-conscious. Sometimes you need free speaking with no analysis. Other times you need feedback, separate performance from correction. During free conversation, continue speaking. Afterward, choose one short section to review. Do not attack every error. Find one sentence that was unclear and improve it. Find one repeated word and replace it. Find one place where you hesitated and prepare a useful phrase. Then repeat the conversation. Your second version should be stronger, but not identical. This is how spontaneous speaking becomes more organized. Self-conversation is not a replacement for speaking with real people forever. Real interaction includes accents, interruptions, emotions, and unexpected responses that you cannot completely reproduce alone. But self-conversation prepares you for those moments. It builds language before pressure arrives. It gives you rehearsal time. It reveals gaps. It strengthens your ability to continue. When a real person finally asks the question, your brain will not be meeting the topic for the first time. You have already spoken about it. You have already made mistakes. You have already found better sentences. You have already trained your response. Chapter 7. Build fluency through topic loops and repetition. Many learners believe repetition means saying the exact same sentence again and again. That can help pronunciation, but real fluency requires a more flexible kind of repetition. You need to repeat topics, structures, and ideas while changing the details. This creates depth. When you speak about a topic only once, you may struggle, make many pauses, and forget useful words. If you never return to the topic, the difficulty remains. If you repeat the topic in a smarter way, your speech becomes more organized each time. This is called a topic loop. Choose one topic and speak about it several times over several days. For example, choose my daily routine. On the first day, speak freely for 2 minutes. You may say, I wake up at 7, then I eat breakfast. After that, I go to work. I come home in the evening. Your speech may be basic. That is your starting point. Listen to the recording and identify what is missing. Perhaps you need language for frequency, sequence, reasons, and feelings. Learn useful phrases. Most days. The first thing I do is, once I have finished, the reason I do this is, what I like about my routine is, what I would like to change is. On the second day, speak about the same routine using these patterns. Most days, I wake up at around 7. The first thing I do is check the time, although I am trying to stop checking my phone immediately. Once I have washed and prepared breakfast, I review my plan for the day. I tend to start work at about 9. Now the answer is more natural. On the third day, compare your weekday and weekend routines. On the fourth day, explain how your routine has changed over the past 5 years. On the fifth day, describe your ideal routine. On the sixth day, explain which habits are helpful and which are harmful. On the seventh day, answer unexpected questions about your routine. You are repeating the topic without repeating the same speech. This creates a network of language around one area. Topic loops are powerful because real conversations often return to common subjects: work, family, health, travel, education, technology, food, goals, money, relationships, culture, and daily habits. You do not need to speak about every possible topic. You need enough depth in common topics to handle different questions. Create a topic list based on your life, your work or studies, your hometown, your family, your daily routine, your goals, your biggest challenges, your hobbies, your health habits, your opinions about technology, a memorable trip, a difficult decision, something you recently learned, a person who influenced you, a problem in your community, a change you want to make. These topics will cover a large amount of practical language. For each topic, complete several speaking tasks. Describe it. Explain why it matters. Tell a past story. Discuss a current situation. Predict the future. Compare two options. Give advantages and disadvantages. Share your opinion. Respond to an opposing opinion. Offer advice. Suppose the topic is social media. Describe your use. I use social media mainly to stay informed and communicate with people. Explain why it matters. It has become an important part of modern communication, although I think many people use it without limits. Tell a past story. A few months ago, I noticed that I was checking my phone every few minutes, even when there was no important reason. Discuss the current situation. Now I try to keep my phone away while I am working. Predict the future. I think social media will become even more personalized and difficult to avoid. Compare options. Short videos are more entertaining, but longer content is often more useful. Give advantages and disadvantages. Social media makes information easy to access, but it can damage concentration. Share your opinion. I do not think social media is completely good or bad. The effect depends on how it is used. Respond to opposition. Some people argue that users should simply control themselves, but platforms are designed to keep people engaged, so personal discipline is not the only issue. Offer advice. I would recommend turning off unnecessary notifications and choosing fixed times to check applications. One topic has now trained many forms of speaking. Repetition also helps you develop grammar naturally. Suppose you are practicing past experiences. Tell a story about missing an appointment. Then tell a story about losing something important. Then tell a story about meeting an old friend. All 3 stories require past tense language, time expressions, sequence markers, reactions, and results. You repeat the grammatical function while changing the content. Use story structures. Last, at first, a few minutes later, while suddenly, I realized that, unfortunately, in the end. Looking back, these patterns help you organize stories without memorizing every word. A fluent story is not a collection of random events. It guides the listener. For example, Last week, I had an appointment in the city. I left home early because I expected heavy traffic. At first, everything was going well, but a few minutes later, the car in front of me stopped suddenly. There had been a minor accident, and the road was almost completely blocked. While I was waiting, I called the office to explain the situation. Fortunately, they agreed to delay the appointment. In the end, I arrived about 40 minutes late. Looking back, I should have checked the traffic before leaving. You can reuse the structure for many stories. Do not memorize the whole story. Memorize the road signs. Another repetition method is the 3-level answer. Answer one question at 3 levels. Question: do you enjoy cooking? Level 1, 15 seconds. Yes, I enjoy cooking, especially when I have enough time. I usually make simple meals at home. Level 2, 1 minute. Yes, I enjoy cooking, although I do not do it every day. I mainly cook on weekends when I am less busy. I like trying simple recipes, especially rice dishes and grilled food. The best part is that I can control the ingredients and adjust the taste. Level 3, 3 minutes. Add history, examples, challenges, comparisons, and future plans. This teaches you to adjust the length of your answer. In some conversations, a short response is appropriate. In an interview or speaking exam, you may need more detail. Fluency includes knowing how much to say. Use the 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute method. Speak about the same topic for 1 minute. Take a short break. Speak again for 2 minutes without repeating every sentence. Then speak for 3 minutes with additional examples. Your brain learns to expand. Another method is compression. Speak for 3 minutes about a topic. Then explain the same idea in 1 minute. Then summarize it in 20 seconds. Compression improves clarity because you must identify the main point. For example, after a long discussion about learning English, your 20-second version might be, I am learning English mainly for professional reasons. My biggest challenge is speaking without translating, so I have started practicing aloud at home every day. My goal is to become comfortable in meetings and conversations. That is clear and efficient. Fluency is not endless talking. It is expressing enough information in an organized way. Repeat useful sentence frames across topics. One of the main reasons is, the biggest difference between them is, what I find difficult is, the advantage is that, the disadvantage is that, I used to, but now, if I had the opportunity, I would. The best example I can give is, what surprised me most was, in my experience, apply each frame to several topics. One of the main reasons I practice English is that I need it for work. One of the main reasons people procrastinate is that the task feels overwhelming. One of the main reasons I enjoy working from home is that I save time. The frame becomes automatic while the message changes. This is how fluent speakers use language. They do not invent every structure from zero. Create a phrase bank, but keep it active. Do not collect 1,000 phrases you never say. Choose 10 phrases each week. Use every phrase in 5 original sentences. Use them in 2 recordings. Use them during a topic loop. Review them after several days. A small active bank is more valuable than a large forgotten list. Measure progress by revisiting old recordings. Record yourself speaking about one topic today. Save the recording. Return to the same topic after 2 weeks and record again without listening to the first version. Then compare. Are your pauses shorter? Are your sentences longer? Are your ideas clearer? Are you using more linking phrases? Is your pronunciation more stable? This gives you real evidence of progress. Daily improvement is often too small to notice. Comparison over time reveals the change. Do not compare your beginning to another person's advanced level. Compare your current performance to your previous performance. Repetition may feel boring if you believe every practice session must be new and exciting. Skill development is not always exciting. Musicians repeat scales. Athletes repeat movements. Actors repeat lines. The repetition becomes meaningful because each attempt has a target. Do not repeat carelessly. First attempt, focus on continuing. Second attempt, improve organization. Third attempt, improve vocabulary. Fourth attempt, improve pronunciation. Fifth attempt, answer unexpected questions. The topic is the same, but the training target changes. Avoid memorizing full speeches word for word. Memorization can create smooth performance, but if you forget one line, the entire speech may collapse. Use a keyword map instead. For the topic, a difficult decision, your keywords might be job offer, higher salary, different city, family concern, advantages, fear, final decision, result, lesson. Look at the keywords and speak naturally. Each version will be slightly different. That is good. Real fluency is flexible. You want to know the path, not every exact step. Topic loops turn unfamiliar language into familiar territory. The first time, you search. The second time, you recognize. The third time, you organize. The fourth time, you improve. The fifth time, you begin to sound natural. Do not abandon a topic after one difficult attempt. Difficulty is not proof that the topic is wrong for you. Difficulty shows you where practice is needed. Return. Build depth. Make the language yours. Chapter 8. Train yourself to speak under pressure without freezing. Speaking alone at home is comfortable. Real conversation is not always comfortable. A listener may ask an unexpected question. You may need to answer quickly. Someone may interrupt you. You may forget a word. You may misunderstand the question. You may feel that people are judging your accent. If your home practice is always slow, controlled, and predictable, real conversations may still feel overwhelming. You need to add safe pressure to your practice. The goal is not to create panic. The goal is to teach your brain that it can continue even when conditions are imperfect. Begin with timed answers. Choose a question and give yourself 5 seconds to begin. Do not wait for the perfect opening. Question: what is one habit you would like to change? Count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin. One habit I would like to change is using my phone too much in the evening. I often plan to sleep early, but then I start watching short videos and lose track of time. You can improve the answer later. The first goal is immediate entry. Freezing often happens before the first sentence. Once speech begins, the next idea becomes easier. Build a collection of opening patterns. In my experience, I would say that the first thing that comes to mind is, there are several reasons, but the main one is, I have mixed feelings about that. It depends on what we mean by, I have never experienced that personally, but these patterns help you enter the answer while your brain prepares the details. Next, use the 60-second challenge. Speak for 60 seconds without stopping. You may pause briefly, but do not become silent for more than 3 seconds. If you forget a word, describe it. If you lose the topic, summarize your last point and continue. If you make a mistake, correct it quickly or ignore it until the end. Suppose the topic is a useful piece of technology. You begin discussing your phone but forget the word navigation. Say, I use the map function that shows me where to go. Communication continues. This is the skill you need in real life. A missing word should create a detour, not a dead end. Practice rescue phrases. What I am trying to say is, let me explain that in another way. I cannot remember the exact word, but it means, I may not be expressing this clearly. Let me start that sentence again. The main point is, anyway, what happened next was. These phrases help you repair speech. Use them during home practice until they become automatic. Another pressure exercise is random topic switching. Write 10 topics on pieces of paper. Pick one and speak for 30 seconds. Then pick another and switch immediately. You may move from healthy food to online education to a childhood memory to public transportation. The goal is not deep discussion. The goal is mental flexibility. Real conversations move unexpectedly. Someone may ask about work, then travel, then family, Then, a recent problem. Your brain must learn to enter new topics without panic. Use distraction practice carefully. Play low background noise while speaking. Keep the volume safe and not too distracting. Practice while standing. Practice after walking for a few minutes. Practice while looking at yourself in a mirror. Practice with the camera turned on. Each condition adds a small amount of pressure. Many learners speak comfortably when no one can see them, but freeze when they see their own face on a video call. Practicing with the camera helps reduce that discomfort. Look at the camera, not constantly at your own image. Speak for 1 minute as if answering an interview question. Then watch the video once. Observe your eye contact, posture, facial tension, and voice. Do not criticize your appearance. That is irrelevant. Ask whether you look engaged and understandable. Pressure also comes from correction. Some learners become so afraid of mistakes that they monitor every word while speaking. This destroys flow. Separate fluency practice and accuracy practice. During a fluency round, speak without stopping. During an accuracy round, repeat the same topic more carefully. For example, speak freely for 2 minutes about your work. Then listen to 30 seconds of the recording. Choose 3 sentences to improve. Perhaps you said, "I am working there since 2 years." Improve it. "I have been working there for 2 years." Say the corrected sentence 5 times. Then speak about your work again and naturally include the corrected pattern. This method protects fluency while still improving accuracy. Do not correct 10 mistakes at once. Your brain cannot focus on everything. Choose high-value errors. Errors that change meaning. Errors you repeat frequently. Errors related to language you use often. Pronunciation problems that make words difficult to understand. Ignore minor mistakes during some sessions. Communication first, refinement second. Another pressure drill is the no preparation question set. Ask yourself 10 questions and answer each for 30 seconds without preparation. What makes a good friend? Should people work fewer hours? What is something schools should teach? What would you do if you lost your phone? Is it better to live in a large city or a small town? What is one decision that changed your life? How has technology changed communication? What is a skill everyone should learn? What makes a job satisfying? What advice would you give your younger self? These questions require opinions, imagination, comparison, and reflection. Your answers do not need to be profound. You are training response speed. Practice being interrupted. Set a timer that rings randomly while you speak. When it rings, pause and say, "Let me come back to my main point." Then continue from where you stopped. Or interrupt yourself with a question. "You said the job was difficult. What exactly made it difficult?" Respond and then return. This trains conversational recovery. In real discussions, you may lose your place after an interruption. A recovery phrase helps. As I was saying, to return to my original point. Before we moved on, I was explaining. The reason I mentioned that was, practice these phrases aloud. You should also simulate misunderstanding. Ask yourself a question, then intentionally answer the wrong interpretation. Question: how long have you worked there? Wrong interpretation: how far is your workplace? Then correct. Sorry, I misunderstood the question. I have worked there for 3 years. This may seem unusual, but it prepares you to handle confusion calmly. Misunderstanding is not a disaster. It is a normal part of communication. Strong speakers do not avoid every misunderstanding. They repair it efficiently. Practice emotional pressure as well. Imagine someone disagrees with you strongly. You say, "I think remote work is beneficial." The other person says, "That is completely unrealistic. People are lazy at home." Respond without becoming defensive. I understand that productivity can be a concern, but I do not think it is accurate to say that everyone becomes lazy. The results depend on the person, the job, and the management system. Imagine the person interrupts. "No, that is just an excuse." Respond. "I can see that you feel strongly about it. Let me give you a specific example of what I mean." This trains calm language. You can also practice saying that you do not know. Many learners panic because they believe they must have an answer to every question. Use honest responses. I am not familiar enough with the topic to give a strong opinion. I have not thought about that in detail. I do not know the exact answer, but my guess would be I would need more information before deciding. That is outside my area of experience. These are intelligent answers. Fluency does not mean pretending to know everything. Another useful exercise is the two-choice drill. Give yourself two difficult options and decide quickly. Would you prefer a high-paying job you dislike or a lower-paying job you enjoy? Begin within 5 seconds. Explain your choice, then defend the opposite choice. This creates pressure and flexibility. Use the same method with practical decisions. Live near family or move abroad? Buy a home or continue renting? Study online or attend classes? Work alone or work in a team? Save money or spend it on travel? There is no perfect answer. The value comes from organizing reasons under time pressure. Your body also affects freezing. When nervous, you may hold your breath, tighten your shoulders, and speak too quickly. Before a pressure drill, place your feet firmly on the floor. Relax your jaw. Breathe out slowly. Do not take several huge breaths. One calm breath is enough. Begin with a steady first sentence. The first sentence sets the pace. If you rush the beginning, the rest of the answer often becomes rushed. Speak 10% slower than your nervous instinct. A controlled pace sounds more confident than fast, unclear speech. Pressure training should be challenging, but not humiliating. Do not use impossible material and then insult yourself for struggling. Increase difficulty gradually. First, answer familiar questions with a timer. Then answer unfamiliar questions. Then switch topics. Then use the camera. Then simulate interruptions. Then join real conversations. Each level prepares you for the next. Real confidence comes from evidence. You become confident when you have survived hundreds of imperfect speaking attempts. You answered even when the words were not perfect. You continued after forgetting vocabulary. You corrected misunderstandings. You restarted sentences. You handled silence. You discovered that mistakes did not destroy you. This is what your nervous system needs to learn. The aim of pressure practice is not to remove all nervousness. Even strong speakers sometimes feel nervous. The aim is to remain functional while nervous. You do not need to feel completely calm before speaking. You need a system that works even when your heart is beating faster. Start. Use an opening phrase. Give one clear point. Add a reason. Give an example. Finish the thought. That is enough. Chapter 9. Correct yourself without destroying your confidence. Feedback is necessary for improvement, but many learners use feedback as punishment. They record themselves, hear several mistakes, and conclude, "My English is terrible." That conclusion is useless. A recording is not a final judgment of your ability. It is information about one performance at one moment. Your task is to turn that information into a specific correction. You need a feedback system that is honest without being destructive. Begin by accepting that your recordings will contain mistakes. If you could already speak perfectly, you would not need practice. The presence of mistakes does not mean the practice failed. The practice reveals what needs work. Use a 3-stage recording system. First, record a free answer. Second, analyze a small section. Third, record the answer again. Suppose you speak for 2 minutes about your last weekend. Do not analyze the entire recording. Choose the first 30 or 45 seconds. Listen once for meaning. Was the message understandable? Did the ideas follow a logical order? Listen again for language. Did you repeat the same words? Were any sentences incomplete? Did you use the wrong tense? Listen a third time for delivery. Was your voice clear? Were there long pauses? Did you rush? Choose no more than 3 corrections. For example, I go to my friend's house. Correction, I went to my friend's house. We discussed about the project. Correction. We discussed the project. I was very enjoy. Correction. I really enjoyed it. Write the corrected sentences. Say each sentence several times. Then retell the story. Do not memorize the entire corrected speech. Focus on using the improved patterns naturally. This process is much more effective than listening to 10 minutes of mistakes and feeling discouraged. Use categories to track repeated problems. Verb tense, articles, preposition, word order, pronunciation, vocabulary, sentence endings, hesitation, organization. After several recordings, you may notice patterns. Perhaps articles are not your main problem, but verb tense changes are. Perhaps your grammar is understandable, but you pause too long before every sentence. Perhaps your vocabulary is sufficient, but your voice is too quiet. Focus on the problem with the biggest effect. Do not chase every imperfection. You can create an error notebook, but it must contain corrected language, not only mistakes. Instead of writing, "Wrong, he explained me." Right. He explained it to me. Could you explain the process to me? She explained why the meeting had been canceled. Now you are learning the correct pattern in context. Review the sentences aloud. An error notebook that remains silent will not improve speaking. Use speech-to-text tools as one form of feedback. Speak into your phone and see what it writes. If the tool repeatedly misunderstands a word, your pronunciation may need attention. However, speech recognition is not perfect. A wrong transcription does not always mean your pronunciation is wrong. Use it as a clue, not an absolute judge. Compare your pronunciation with reliable audio. Record the target word inside a full sentence. Do not only repeat the isolated word. If the word is comfortable, say, "I do not feel comfortable speaking in large groups." If the word is particularly, say, "I am particularly interested in improving my pronunciation." Words behave differently inside sentences. You can also use a transcript method. Record 1 minute of speech. Write exactly what you said, including repetitions and unfinished sentences. You may discover patterns that are difficult to hear. For example, I think the main problem is, people do not have, enough time. The meaning is understandable, but the sentence contains unnecessary repetition and fillers. Improve it. I think the main problem is that people do not have enough time. Then practice a more natural version. I think the main problem is simply that most people do not have enough time. Do not try to remove every filler word. Native and fluent speakers also use fillers. The goal is to prevent them from dominating your speech. Common fillers include, like, actually, and basically. Replace some fillers with silent pauses. A short pause often sounds more confident than repeated noise. Practice pausing after an opening phrase. There are several reasons for this. Pause. The first is lack of time. The pause gives structure. Another feedback method is model comparison. Choose a natural sentence from a speaker. Record yourself saying the same sentence. Listen alternately. Do not ask, "Do I sound exactly the same?" Ask, "Is my stress similar? Are my pauses similar? Is my final sound clear? Am I speaking too slowly or too quickly? Does my voice rise or fall in the same place?" Choose one difference and improve it. Feedback becomes manageable when it is specific. You may also ask a teacher, friend, or language partner for feedback, but ask precise questions. Do not say, "How is my English?" That question is too broad. Ask, "Could you tell me whether my pronunciation is clear? Did I use the past tense correctly in this story? Which 3 sentences sounded unnatural? Were my ideas easy to follow? Which sound should I focus on first?" Specific questions produce useful answers. Be careful about receiving correction from people who cannot explain it clearly. A fluent speaker may know that something sounds unnatural, but may not know why. Their instinct can still help, but verify important rules with a reliable source. Also, Do not accept every correction blindly. English has regional variation. Two natural speakers may prefer different expressions. Focus on clarity, common usage, and the context in which you need English. If your goal is professional communication, practice professional clarity. If your goal is travel, practice practical interaction. If your goal is an exam, understand the exam criteria. Feedback should support your actual goal. Develop self-correction phrases for live conversation. If you say, "I have seen him yesterday," correct yourself naturally. "Sorry, I saw him yesterday." If you choose the wrong word, "The meeting was canceled, sorry, I mean postponed." If your sentence becomes confused, "Let me say that again more clearly." This shows control, not weakness. Do not restart every sentence because of a small mistake. Correct errors that affect meaning or errors you can repair quickly. If the listener already understands, continuing may be better. You need balance. Too little correction creates repeated errors. Too much correction destroys fluency. Use different practice days for different priorities. On a fluency day, speak more and correct less. On an accuracy day, use shorter recordings and detailed correction. On a pronunciation day, copy sounds and rhythm. On a review day, reuse corrected patterns. This prevents every session from becoming mentally overloaded. Track your improvements, not only your problems. After each recording, identify one thing you did well. Perhaps you spoke for 2 minutes without stopping. Perhaps you used a new phrase correctly. Perhaps your story was organized. Perhaps you corrected yourself calmly. Perhaps your pronunciation was clearer. This is not empty praise. It is accurate data. A feedback system must show both progress and gaps. If you only record failure, you create a false picture. Save one recording each week. Name it with the date and topic. After 1 month, listen to the first and last recording. You may still hear mistakes, but you will also hear changes in speed, confidence, and organization. Progress is often invisible from day to day. Evidence protects you from the feeling that nothing is changing. You can create a simple speaking score from 1 to 5. Continuity. Did I keep speaking? Clarity. Could a listener understand me? Organization. Did my ideas have a logical order? Language. Did I use appropriate words and grammar? Delivery. Was my voice clear and controlled? Do not expect 5 in every category. Choose one category to improve next time. Suppose your score is continuity, 4, clarity, 4, organization, 2, language, 3, delivery, 3. Your biggest issue is organization, not vocabulary. Next time, use a simple structure: main point, reason, example, conclusion. This is more useful than vaguely deciding to improve English. Feedback must lead to action. Never end analysis with "I am bad." End with a training decision. I need to practice past tense stories. I need to slow down at the beginning. I need to use fewer fillers. I need to make the final sounds clearer. I need 3 phrases for giving examples. That is productive honesty. Confidence is not built by pretending mistakes do not exist. Confidence is built by proving that mistakes can be corrected. You hear the problem. You understand it. You practice the better version. You try again. That process gives you control. The learner who avoids recording protects temporary comfort. The learner who uses recording intelligently builds lasting ability. Listen without cruelty. Correct without panic. Repeat without shame. Your mistakes are not your identity. They are instructions. Chapter 10. Follow a daily home routine that actually builds fluency. You now understand many powerful practice methods, but information alone will not improve your speaking. You need a routine. A routine removes the daily question, "What should I practice today?" Without a routine, you may watch random videos, collect tips, start several methods, and continue none of them long enough to produce results. Your speaking routine should be simple enough to repeat, challenging enough to create growth, and flexible enough to survive busy days. Do not design a perfect 2-hour routine if you can only follow it twice. Build 3 versions. A minimum routine for difficult days. A standard routine for normal days. An extended routine for days when you have more time. Your minimum routine can take 10 minutes. Spend 2 minutes warming up your mouth and voice. Spend 3 minutes shadowing one short clip. Spend 3 minutes answering one question. Spend 2 minutes reviewing and repeating one corrected sentence. 10 minutes is not enough to master English, but it is enough to protect the habit. A minimum routine prevents 0 days. 0 days are dangerous because one missed day easily becomes a week. Your standard routine can take 30 minutes. Begin with 3 minutes of pronunciation warm-up. Read or repeat several sentences with clear stress and rhythm. Then spend 7 minutes shadowing. Use a short clip you already understand. Repeat carefully. Do not waste the time searching for new material. Next, spend 10 minutes on a topic loop. Answer one main question. Ask yourself follow-up questions and speak from different angles. Then spend 5 minutes reviewing a recording. Choose one grammar issue, one vocabulary improvement, or one delivery issue. Finally, spend 5 minutes repeating the improved answer. This routine includes input, imitation, independent speech, feedback, and correction. Your extended routine can take 45 to 60 minutes. Add a longer self-conversation. Add role play. Add reading aloud. Add vocabulary activation. Add a second recording. But do not believe the extended routine is automatically better. A focused 30-minute session is more valuable than an unfocused hour. Quality depends on attention. You also need a weekly structure. On the first day, choose a new topic and create a baseline recording. On the second day, learn useful phrases and repeat the topic. On the third day, shadow content related to the topic. On the fourth day, practice a conversation or role play. On the fifth day, answer unexpected questions. On the sixth day, record a stronger final version. On the seventh day, review your phrases and listen to both recordings. This gives your practice direction. Let us imagine the weekly topic is job interviews. On the first day, answer, "Tell me about yourself," without preparation. On the second day, learn patterns for describing experience, strengths, and goals. I have several years of experience in. One of my main strengths is, in my current role, I am responsible for, I am interested in this position because. On the third day, shadow a clear interview response. On the fourth day, role play interviewer and candidate. On the fifth day, answer unexpected questions. Tell me about a mistake. How do you handle pressure? Why should we hire you? What is one weakness you are working on? On the sixth day, complete a full mock interview. On the seventh day, analyze your improvement. After 1 week, you have not only studied interview English, you have used it repeatedly under different conditions. Choose one monthly focus. Month 1 might focus on continuity. Your goal is to speak longer without freezing. Month 2 might focus on pronunciation. Month 3 might focus on professional communication. Month 4 might focus on storytelling. Do not attempt to improve every part of speaking equally at the same time. A focused month produces visible change. You can still practice other areas, but one skill receives special attention. For continuity, use timed speaking and rescue phrases. For pronunciation, use shadowing and recording. For professional communication, use meeting phrases and role play. For storytelling, use past tense structures and sequence words. Set process goals, not fantasy goals. A fantasy goal is, I will become fluent in 30 days. That is vague and unrealistic for most learners. A process goal is, I will speak aloud for at least 20 minutes on 25 days this month. A process goal is measurable and under your control. You cannot directly command fluency to arrive by a certain date. You can control the number and quality of practice sessions. Track completed practice. Mark a calendar. Write the number of minutes. Write the topic. Write one useful phrase. Write one improvement target. Keep tracking simple. A complicated tracking system becomes another form of procrastination. At the end of each week, ask, how many days did I speak aloud? Which exercise helped most? Which topic was difficult? Which mistake kept repeating? What will I focus on next week? Adjust the routine based on evidence. If shadowing improves your rhythm, continue. If you spend too much time choosing materials, prepare them in advance. If recordings make you nervous, record shorter sections more often. If you keep skipping evening practice, move it to the morning. Do not blame yourself for a system that does not fit your life. Change the system. However, do not use constant adjustment as an excuse to avoid discipline. Some days, you will not feel motivated. Practice anyway, even if you only complete the minimum routine. Motivation often appears after you begin. Waiting to feel ready gives your mood control over your progress. Create a fixed starting ritual. Sit in your speaking place. Put your phone on silent, except for the recording tool. Open your notebook. Take one breath. Say, today, I am going to practice speaking about. Begin. The ritual should take less than 1 minute. Do not watch motivational content before every session. The practice itself is the work. Use themes to prevent boredom. Monday, daily life. Tuesday, work or study. Wednesday, storytelling. Thursday, opinions and debate. Friday, role play. Saturday, pronunciation and shadowing. Sunday, review and free conversation. This structure gives variety without randomness. You should also include real interaction when possible. Home practice is powerful, but eventually, you need contact with unpredictable speakers. After building confidence alone, join a language exchange, online class, conversation group, or speaking session. Do not wait until you feel completely fluent. You will never feel completely ready. Use home practice to prepare for real conversations. Then use real conversations to reveal what home practice should address next. The two forms of practice support each other. Before a real conversation, prepare 3 topics and 5 useful questions. After the conversation, write down the moments when you struggled. Perhaps you could not explain your work clearly. Perhaps you did not understand a question. Perhaps you repeated basic words. Bring those problems into your next home session. Practice the conversation again. Create better responses. Then test them in the next interaction. This creates a feedback loop between preparation and reality. Your routine should contain language you actually need. Do not spend weeks practicing airport conversations if you never travel and your main goal is workplace communication. Identify your most common speaking situations. Who do you need to speak with? What questions do they ask? What problems do you need to explain? What opinions do you need to express? What level of formality is required? Build practice around those needs. If you work with clients, practice clarification, updates, delays, recommendations, and polite disagreement. If you are a student, practice asking questions, summarizing ideas, presenting information, and participating in discussions. If you are preparing to travel, practice directions, hotels, transportation, food, emergencies, and small talk. If you want general confidence, focus on common life topics and spontaneous questions. Relevant practice creates faster results because the language appears repeatedly in your real life. Protect your routine from perfectionism. You will miss days. You will have bad recordings. You will forget phrases you practiced. You will sometimes feel that you are becoming worse. This is normal. Learning is not a straight line. As your listening improves, you may notice more mistakes in your speech. This can make you feel less capable, even though your awareness is becoming stronger. Do not confuse increased awareness with decreased ability. Continue. When you miss one day, return the next day. Do not create a dramatic restart plan for next Monday. Restart immediately? 5 minutes today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. You also need to stop changing methods every week. One teacher recommends shadowing. Another recommends reading aloud. Another recommends speaking with strangers. Another recommends vocabulary notebooks. All of these can help, but none will work if you abandon it before repetition creates adaptation. Choose a balanced routine and follow it for at least 30 days before judging the result. During those 30 days, record a baseline on day 1. Choose the same 3 questions to answer every week. Question 1. Why are you learning English? Question 2. What has been the biggest challenge in your life recently? Question 3. What is one goal you hope to achieve this year? Record your answers. After 1 week, answer again. After 2 weeks, answer again. Continue until day 30. Do not memorize fixed answers. Let your responses develop naturally. At the end, compare day 1 with day 30. You may notice that you begin faster. Your pauses may be shorter. Your sentences may connect more smoothly. Your voice may sound stronger. Your ideas may be better organized. You may still make mistakes, but you will hear movement. That movement is the result of repeated speaking. Here is a complete 30-day progression you can follow. During the first 5 days, focus on becoming comfortable with your own voice. Speak about your routine, your home, your work, your family, and your goals. Do not worry too much about correction. Build continuity. During days 6 to 10, add shadowing. Use the same short audio clip for several days. Copy rhythm and stress. Personalize useful sentence patterns. During days 11 to 15, practice self-conversation. Ask follow-up questions. Use role-play. Practice clarification and disagreement. During days 16 to 20, add pressure. Use timers, random questions, topic switching, and camera practice. During days 21 to 25, focus on feedback. Review short recordings, correct repeated errors, and retell the same topics more clearly. During days 26 to 30, combine everything. Warm up, shadow, speak independently, handle unexpected questions, review one problem, and record a final performance. Do not expect to become a completely different speaker in 1 month. Expect to build a system that can continue beyond the month. That is more valuable. Fluency is not a finish line you cross once. It is a level of ease created by regular use. Even strong speakers become less comfortable when they stop using a language for a long time. Your English needs maintenance. The purpose of your routine is to make speaking a normal part of your life. Not a special event, not an emergency before an interview, not something you do only when you feel inspired. A normal activity. You wake up, you work, you eat, you check your phone, you speak English. This identity matters. Do not keep saying, I am trying to learn English. Begin saying, I practice English every day. The first statement describes a wish. The second describes a behavior. Your confidence will come from that behavior. There will be days when you speak smoothly and days when every sentence feels difficult. Do not allow one difficult day to define your ability. Your brain may be tired. The topic may be unfamiliar. You may be distracted. Continue the routine. A professional does not judge the entire journey by one performance. You are building a skill over hundreds of sessions. The session you complete today is one piece. Your home is enough to begin. Your phone is enough to record. Your daily life is enough to provide topics. Your voice is enough to practice. You do not need a partner to take the first 1,000 steps. A partner can help later, but a partner cannot practice for you. A teacher can guide you, but a teacher cannot move your mouth for you. A video can explain the method, but the video cannot create your speaking habit. Only your repeated action can do that. When this lesson ends, do not immediately open another video about fluency. Choose one question. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Press record. Speak. You may hesitate. Continue. You may forget a word. Describe it. You may make a grammar mistake. Correct it or move forward. You may dislike your voice. Keep speaking. The first recording does not need to impress anyone. It only needs to exist. Tomorrow, create another. then another. Your confidence will not arrive in one dramatic moment. It will grow quietly each time you prove that you can speak despite discomfort. One day, someone will ask you a question in English, and you will notice something different. You will not translate every word. You will not search desperately for the perfect sentence. You will begin. Your answer will develop. You will make a small mistake and continue. You will explain your idea. You will ask a question in return. The conversation will move forward. That moment will not be luck. It will be the result of every private practice session when no one was listening, every sentence you repeated, every recording you reviewed, every uncomfortable pause you survived, every time you chose to speak instead of remaining silent. This is how fluency is built. Not by waiting, not by wishing, not by memorizing endless lists, by using English until your brain no longer treats speaking as a threat. You are not missing a secret method. You are missing repeated production. Start with 10 minutes. Build to 20. Use your home. Use your routine. Use your mistakes. Use your voice. Do not wait for a partner. Do not wait for confidence. Do not wait for the perfect time. Speak now and let confidence catch up with you.